Day 3 of the 2021 Horizon League Swimming and Diving Championships turned to the individual races, and we got started with relays. The women's 200-yard freestyle relay. Oakland, the heavy favorite, coming in, a 1:33.59, their best time in 2021. Bit of an odd 2021 season coming in. Thought they were going to have a comfortable victory, but the Milwaukee Panthers in lane 7 had other ideas. Milwaukee was right there with the heavy favorites up until the bitter end, as Milwaukee, who was 4 seconds slower, if you look at the tallies from this season, they were less than 4/1000ths of a second slower in this race, but Oakland did hang on and get the win. On the men's side, like the women in the 200 free relay, Oakland the heavy favorite. Their best time this year just over 120, 120.04. And the Golden Grizzlies from the get-go had a pretty sizable lead, at least as sizable as you can make it in a freestyle relay. Not really a whole lot of differential, but they're at the end, not as interesting as the women's race, as Oakland behind Ryan Guillen able to get that win and sweep the relays to start the day. But then the individual races, the 500 free, a mix of speed and endurance. And in the A final for the women, Emily Aycock able to hold off her teammate Sovi Niinanen. And Aycock, who had dominated that event throughout the season, but had to rely on a lunge at the wall to win the women's 500 free. But an entertaining race that it was. But in the men's 500 free, Oakland trying to continue their domination. Oakland throughout this season has been dominant in these individual races. But on the men's side, Ben Davis, the victor, as Davis really wasn't a factor in the early or even middle portion of that race, but the final 150 yards, he set blazing speeds. To the 200 IM. On the women's side, Susan LaGrand, she swam this event at the NCAA Championships a couple weeks ago, so you figured she'd be the heavy favorite. Could anybody unseat her? And the answer is no. Susan LaGrand just dominant as expected for Oakland. You can see the lead that she has in the middle stages. Then at the end, she was just waiting for everybody else to finish. LaGrand, a meet record, breaking her own record from last year, a 157.61. She was flying as expected. In the men's race, we thought we might have a chance for the first non-Oakland swimmer to win an event, and it happened. Well, we figured it would be Sebi Smolecki, but we had an upset from the lane in which it would come from. You don't typically see lane 1 getting a victory, but Maxwell Boneline atop your screen was especially fantastic at the end of the race, and he was able to edge his teammate. He wasn't even sure until he looked behind him up at the scoreboard and recognized that he pulled off the upset as the Phoenix go 1-2 in the men's 200 IM. And then the fastest race of the weekend, the women's 50 free. Anna Liu put on a show. Not the last time we heard from her, she was even faster in the relay portion, but in a B final. But in the A final of the 50 free, Liu, the heavy favorite, she nearly swam sub 23 in the regular season. In fact, an even 23. But she was able to get that victory out of lane number 4, continue her dominance. The senior putting up an excellent weekend already. On the men's side, Christian Bart, he had 6 of the 9 fastest times in the 50 free in the regular season. He was the heavy favorite in lane 4. It's not often in a 50 free you can call it live and feel very comfortable with the winner from the naked eye, but Bart made it seem that way in lane 4 as he strolled to a victory in the 50 free on the men's side and giving Oakland back that dominant feeling, if you will. And now to the 400 medley relay. On the women's side, Oakland, the only team to post a sub 350 this season. Oakland a little bit more comfortable in this relay than they were in the 200 free when they had to lunge at the line to beat Milwaukee. Golden Grizzlies much more dominant in the women's 400 medley relay. Their competition UIC and IUPUI, but it was an easy victory for Oakland as they swept the relays on the women's side. Men's side trying to do the same thing. Oakland coming in with the best time at 3:10.67 on the young campaign. They would not meet that mark, but they didn't have to. Like the women, a very comfortable victory in the men's 400-yard medley relay as Oakland outpacing IUPUI and Green Bay, as well as UIC, and Oakland vaulting to the top of the team standings in day number 3. Diving was day 1 and 2, but once we got to the races, Oakland inserting their dominance, and as expected, the Golden Grizzlies leading on both men's and women's after day number 3.